Hello everyone, I'm your host Thomas28 and welcome back to Society Sunlit Valley. And I'm guessing today is likely going to be our last episode, mostly because I've run out of stuff to do. Now, as we left off last episode, we were wrapping up the mystical farming, and in preparation for that, I did go ahead and craft ourselves the 4 Gaia pylons needed to fight the Guardian of Gaia, so we can get the Gaia ingots. Now, I'm not actually sure how much more that unlocks for us, because you get the Gaia spirits, which let you make Gaia mana spreaders, which are really nice. Gaia spirit ingots. What do we use these for? A jaded amaranthus. A functional flower. What does that do? I don't think I've ever actually crafted that. Jaded amaranthus. Jaded amaranthus. When fed mana from a mana pool, it'll grow new mystical flowers on nearby soil at a rapid pace. Huh, interesting. Huh. We can't sell them though, so it's not like that makes you a bunch of money. Is that really the only use for the Gaia Spirit Ingot? That's it? I could have swore I used it for other stuff. I know the Gaia Spirit itself you can use to make the Dandelion, you can make the Shulkminot, and you can craft some other stuff like the endgame gear. Really the only one I was looking forward to is the... I wonder if it's here. Yeah, there it is. The Flugel Tiara, which would also cost $17 million. Other than that, though, pretty easy to craft. But not much else from there that I actually need. As you can see, these slimes did escape. It was mostly my fault. Oh, this one's just a regular weeping slime. There we go. It was my fault. I needed some weeping plorts, and I accidentally fed one of the... what's the word? I fed one of these guys a plort on accident. So you can see this guy is a weeping luminous largo. And now he cries everywhere, and I can't pick him up. If you try, this is what happens. He just goes in your hand. So I'm going to lock him in here for now. But now there's a mess of water everywhere. Are you also weeping? You are. And you broke my redstone. Nice. Okay, I'm going to throw you in the room as well. Note to self, if I'm ever messing around with splendid slimes, try not to cross the beams, because now there's a lot of redstone I have to fix, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue. I really only needed them to get the, whatchamacallit, fix that. There we go. I'll fix this one over here. I needed the weeping plort to get a ghast tier, because I didn't want to go find a ghast, but it looks like I didn't really need it. And there's one more. I think I'll just get rid of this guy. I don't need the plorts anymore. Let me grab my sword, and we'll take care of this guy. Oh, they split into smaller versions. Oh, can I pick up this one? No. Okay. Interesting mechanics. Oh, it did take out one of my pure daisies. So let me go ahead and fix this one back over there. And you can see I also built the portal to Alfheim. Same old, you see me build it like a bajillion times. Doesn't matter too much. But now we just need an ingot of, whatchamacallit, I forget the name. What is it called? Terrasteel. That's it. So let's go ahead and make one of those. And to make this Terrasteel, I always forget the recipe. It's going to be Mana Diamond, Mana Pearl, Mana Fruit, Botanical Tribute. Mana Diamond, Mana Pearl, Tribute, and Mana Fruit. Oh, have the magnet on. Whoops. There we go. Because we need to sacrifice one piece of Terrasteel to start the ritual. Now you can see I am quite prepared for the fight, as we have a Flask of Overload, which gives you Strength 4 and Speed 3, and Weakness 2 and Hunger 3, but we're going to ignore that by eating a Plate of Harvest, which will cure all the debuffs we have, and some Magic Rock Candy, which will also give us sweets, and resistance, and haste. So it should make the fight extremely easy, and this fight really isn't even that difficult anyway. So I'm really not too concerned. I wonder if it'll even start with all the snow in the way. Now how do I activate this? I always forget how to do it. Let's consult the Lexica Botanica here. Gaia. Ritual of Gaia. Requires an active beacon. Oh, I don't think I've ever... Yeah, I don't think I activated the beacon, that's why. Let's grab a piece of gold. Throw you in here. Haste, activate. Okay, there we go. So now if we do this... How do I do this? Just throw it? Do this? How do I activate the trial? Sneak right click the beacon with the ingot. Okay, easy enough. Now I do believe that the audio they use for this fight is copyrighted, so I'm gonna have to mute it. Alright, we got it down to the second phase. This part is usually annoying, but we're so powerful, like, we're not even taking damage here, so it's really not a problem. And one more hit, and there we go. The Guardian of Gaia is defeated. And we get 8 Gaia Spirits. Pretty solid. Now, let's see, that only, yeah, it doesn't actually do anything for defeating it, other than telling you can make the Flucal Tiara for the Creative Flight, which is really all I wanted from it. Go ahead and eat some lunch. And throw away the stuff we don't need, the stone sword, the bow, keep the bowl. Don't need this quiver. But now we're good. Now, I thought there was a way to do the harder version of the fight. The standard gear ritual, difficulty, yada yada. I thought there was a way to make it harder. Ah, there we go. The Ritual of Gaia 2. Combining the two most powerful resources, Terra Steel and Gaia Spirits, would make a material that's truly unstoppable, but it's very stoppable. You can sacrifice it to fight an even stronger version of the Guardian of Gaia. On the other hand, you get more Gaia Spirits and some treasure. But of course, to make it in this pack, we're going to need 2 Botanical Tributes, 2 pieces of Terra Steel, a Prismatic Shard block, and Botanical Tribute. Prismatic Shard block, is that just blocks, is that just prismatic shards? Prismatic shard block. Okay, it's just 9 of these, so I think we can craft that pretty easily, can't we? We can, perfect. So then we just need 2 pieces of Terra Steel. So, mana, diamond, mana pearl. We're going to need our tributes, and 2 mana fruit. So throw those in there. Oh, it doesn't work. I think I have to do it in the correct order, or just... Or actually, do I have enough mana to do this? Because it takes a lot of mana. Yeah, I think the mana is the issue. So I'll stand here for a while. You can see I have my floating Rosa Arcanas feeding into the Elven Mana Spreader to put mana into the mana pool. It should make it go fast enough, although I only need 4 of these, so I can save the other 4 and use this to make the Gaia Mana Spreader, and a Dragonstone is just a mana diamond. So I can extract the mana a little bit faster. And there we go. 2 pieces of Terra Steel. We're all out of mana. Come out over here, take our Gaia Spirit, make ourselves... Oh, I need 1 more Botanical Tribute now, which will take some Iridium coins. Let me go... Do I have an ATM over here? I think I do. At least I should. I believe I have an ATM over here. ATM, there we go. Grab some Iridium coins. Botanical Tribute, that one, this one. Gaia Spirit Ingot. Now let's see if this fight is actually any harder than the other one. Now I could also eat the Magic Rock Candy, because that should also increase our strength. I just need to get a little bit of food. Well, I need a little bit of hunger so I can actually eat the rock candy. Now, since we're going to be fighting the toughest boss yet, I might as well actually use the sword meant for damage and not the looting sword. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade this to diamond, upgrade that to iridium, and then take it all the way up to the galaxy sword with 1 more iridium smithing upgrade and a prismatic shard. Prismatic. Now it is funny, I remember back in the day when I played Stardew Valley, I originally got, what was it, my first prismatic shard by using the glitch in, where was it? You would take an item that was wallpaper and you could use it to glitch the game into thinking it was a prismatic shard. And there we go. The galaxy sword. And now we can even upgrade this further to the Meowmageddon with Neko ears, but we would need a cat spawn crate for this in order to get the gift from the cat, so we're gonna have to settle with that one. Okay, so now we have a little bit of hunger, so we can eat our magical rock candy, get every buff in the game, then override that, then eat the harvest plate to remove all the negative ones. So now, oh wait, Why do I only have strength 2? Something must be overriding something else. Or actually, now if I drink this... There we go, now I have strength 4. So now if we sacrifice this... It should be a very easy fight. Let's see. Let's see how much damage a single blow does. Okay, almost 40 damage. Nice. And we're moving so fast, it's actually really difficult to hit him. But now we're at the second phase. We just have to one-shot all the mobs that spawn, which is really easy because we deal so much damage. Alright, and one more how to do it. Okay, 2 more. And there we go. Challenge completed. We get a bunch of stuff. What is that? The Will of Tarak, a Terrasteel helmet upgrade. Critical hits apply slowness. Cool. Now it is funny. This is actually the first time I've actually done that fight in Britannia. I was aware it existed, I just never had a reason to do it. Ooh, Wandering Trader. Sell me all the books so I can explain the next part of the video. Perfect. As when you fight the hardened version of the Guardian Gaia, they drop these dice of fate. And when you right click them, you get random stuff. So the first one we got was the Fruit of Grisaia, which I'm not actually sure what that does. So let's consult the book here. And there we go, the Fruit of Grisaia. The relic known as the Fruit of Grisaia bestows the brave soul who earned it with an endless supply of nourishment. It can be eaten like any other piece of food, but will use mana to replenish hunger instead. Huh, pretty cool. Now there are other relics that are also pretty good, but the book won't tell you what they are until you unlock them. Now there are 6 in total, I believe, that you have to earn, but that one's pretty good. So you can just eat it infinitely for mana. So let me put that in there. Oh, it doesn't count. Interesting. I wonder how that works then. You can't equip it. Okay, I'll just leave it in my backpack for now. And dump the rest of this in here. We get some free runes. Apply directly to Wither. The Pinkinator. I actually don't know what that does. And throw the rest of this in here as we don't need it anymore. Usually the one I like to get, well, in theory I like to get, is the one that just makes you stronger. There's one that increases like your max health, but we're already pretty strong. Now the reason I needed all these books is 1, so we can get 4,000 experience from each stack. And 2, we have unlocked Mastery. So now, for every 50,000 experience we get, we can unlock one of the Mastery requirements: Adventuring, Fishing, Mining, Husbandry, and Farming. But really of these, I think Husbandry is probably the best because you can use the plushies for your animals, which lets you automate them without needing to use Create. Adventuring is useful because now you can just use the enchanting table. Fishing is cool, but I'm not a big fan of fishing. Mining is nice, and farming is nice, but at this point I'm like barely farming. But obviously eventually you want to unlock all of these. And then there's also the books you can get here that do other stuff. But they're not too important for us at this point. Now let's see. What did I unlock here? Prismatic Farming. Oh, the Farming Mastery. There we go. Once you unlock Farming Mastery, it also lets you see the rest of the skill tree here. If I scroll down... Ah, there we go. The Galaxy Sword upgrade. Get an Iridium coin. Equipment. That unlocks this, but doesn't do much. The Meowmageddon. Just to let you know it's there. But other than that, we're pretty much all set. There's not much left to do in the pack except make money. And at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with our progress. We've done pretty good. Now, the last thing I did say was I wanted to figure out how to make the most expensive item in Society Sunlight Valley, and I figured it out. It's just a little disappointing on how it works. So we have our doohickey machine here, which consists of a mechanical press with a basin. We have a fluid drawer, and then we have a bunch of pipes. Now let me show you how it works. We should have some grapes and apples in here. Grab some apples. And if I search grape, we got some red savanna and some white savanna. Perfect. So this is the way it works. Essentially, we're trying to brew ourselves some jelly wine. Jelly wine is made from apple wine, Chenet wine, and Bolvar wine. These 3 wines need their own kegs to make. Apple wine is pretty easy. Take apple juice and apples to make apple wine. Chenet wine is a little bit more complicated as you need red grape juice and peaches. And then Bolvar wine is red grape juice and cranberries. You can also use different ones for the Bolvar wine from what I've seen. Yeah, it accepts pretty much any of these 4 berries, but I found that cranberries are the easiest to grow, as the other 3 are like forage products. And then you just throw them in there. And then every 10 minutes, you get some jelly wine. Then you could take the jelly wine, put it in an aging cask to make it aged, and the price goes from $14,515 to $29,000. But then if you throw it into the ancient aging cask for 20 days, it goes from $29,000 to $116,000, which is insane. But then I realized to actually make the ancient cask, ancient aging, you also have to brew this aged ancient Vespertine, which is made from ancient fruit, which kind of bummed me out that it actually takes the wine to make this, because that just adds like another step that's going to take a long time, especially because I can't grow them in the wintertime, which is a little bit annoying. And let me show you how the doohickey works. So you just throw these inside, the hopper pushes them inside, and they get smashing. Now to make this work, you want to use a filter here, and you can filter the basin to only hold apple mash, apple juice, grape juice of red and whites. If you don't do that, the basin will try to compact the blocks instead of turn them into the recipe stuff. So instead of making apple mash from apples, it's just going to try to make a block of apples from 9 apples instead, which is unusable. But you can see there, it keeps hopping them inside, and if you tell it you can only make these outputs even when you have mixed inputs like we do right now, it's still going to process it into the correct juices. Then the juices go out to a spout where they fill up the wine bottles, and we collect our bottles of juices. Apple juice, white grape juice, and red grape juice. Now the reason I was a little bit disappointed is because this is about as much... I can't talk. This is about as much automation as you can really do in this whole setup. You can hopper items into the advanced wine keg, but you cannot hopper the top left slot. You can only hopper in the bottom slots and the output, which means it wouldn't really be that effective at automating, because you would still have to manually come in and replace the top left slot every once in a while just to make sure it's topped up. Whereas, I don't know, I thought it'd be nicer to automate since the quest book did say, oh, this is it, you can automate this one without Sparkstone, but it seems like you'd still need Sparkstone anyway to actually move the final product out of the advanced wine keg into the aging cask anyway. And if I already have to manually fill these, then I might as well just do the whole thing manually. And since they take so much time, you don't even have to check on it that often anyway, which is why you want to automate, you know? You want to automate to save time, but since they take such a long time, automating it doesn't really do anything, but you do make quite a lot of money, which is pretty nice. And so with that, I think I'm done with Society Sunlit Valley. We've done pretty much all the important stuff. Of course, there's still the collectathon items, which I'm guessing appeals to some people. It's not something that appeals to me. Like, even this one, the butterflies and moths. We didn't even do anything with butterflies and moths because it didn't tie into any of the other progression. You can actually use their products in Botania, but then there's alternative ways to get the stuff anyway, which means I didn't have to do it. And then, I would say one of my biggest criticisms is probably they need to intertwine some of the progression a bit more to make it more cohesive, because it seems like some parts of the pack you can just completely ignore for the most part, like the slimes. The slimes are pretty cool, but you don't really need them, and they don't make your life easier because they're not easy to automate, and the rewards are random, so it's not even a great benefit to using it. Other than that though, I gotta say, I really did enjoy the pack. The pacing was very good. It is a long form mod pack, which means it is going to take a lot longer to get stuff done, but it never felt grindy, you know? I guess I would say one of my main criticisms, at least in this version of the pack, is they need to add more with the villagers, because coming into it, I really thought they'd have more of a place in the playthrough. But apart from like the first or second episode, once we built their houses, you'd never really interact with them anymore. Like, you just use the cell phone to call them and then buy their stuff, and that's it. And like, especially one for like thinking about it, the fisher, we barely interacted with. Who are you? You're the market. We interacted with him. Or was it her? I forget. See, I don't even remember the villagers. Whereas you ask me who is my favorite in Stardew Valley, well, obviously, it's Pierre. And then they do have, the friendship thing. You can gift them items, but it doesn't do anything. Whereas, in Stardew, you unlock the food recipes, amongst other things, by building the relationship with them. So I don't know if that's on their roadmap for things to add, but that would be pretty nice. You want to make it. You want to incentivize the player to interact with the NPCs, to do a little more. I guess that's probably one of the main things that the end game of Sunlit Valley is missing compared to Stardew. In that in Stardew, the end game and the end game items, the very expensive items, like the totems, are very expensive, but they're a game changer because they let you save a ton of time. You can buy the totem to let you teleport to different parts of the map for an egregious amount of money, but then it saves you the time of having to make those trips when you have to make those trips anyway. Whereas since we're in Minecraft, I never have to travel anywhere. So why do I need the waystones, which are for sale, for perfection, when it's like I don't need to teleport around anywhere? I think what they could do is, and it would be difficult, but you kind of have to figure out a way to incentivize the player to head into different biomes to do different crops. For example, in Stardew Valley, you can only grow specific crops on the the Banana Island? No, it's not Banana Island. There's I forget the name of the island, but there's an island you can go to that you can only grow specific crops there. So if they introduced a mechanic where not only do you need the right season, but you also need to be in the correct biome to grow specific crops, that could be very useful. For instance, we have access to trains, but I don't need to build a train network to go anywhere. But if you made it so specific crops like bananas can only be grown in a jungle biome, for instance, then I would have to build a train station to head over there. And then eventually when I have the way station, I could teleport back and forth. Now that would be an interesting concept, because for right now, it's like, I really never had to leave this area. And I found it fun to, develop the area, do some more of the village, but then after I had a couple of buildings, it's like, well, I don't really need any more buildings. I have everything I need. All in all, though, I thought this was a very fun pack. It was very casual. There was no point where I thought, man, I'm really stressed. These crafting recipes are taking me out. I need even more resources. It all felt pretty well balanced. I was never stressed. I was never rushed. Especially compared to Stardew, I get too efficient. I want to do everything in the first year. Didn't feel that this time. It was just, okay, it's the new season. I'm going to plant some crops, do this, do that, and just enjoy the time. Enjoy the moment. I gotta say, I really like the also extra little things like these scarecrows. I think those were a little nice addition for upgrading the crops, and they just make the farm feel a little bit more alive. But I think this is where we end it. I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you all next time.